Hello and welcome to Morning Fuel. I am your host, John Bundy, and you are here because you believe in the power of the spoken word and its ability to change lives, and that by sharing our stories, we can help others to overcome challenges that they cannot overcome on their own. Whether it's a victory you need to win in business or in your own personal life, you understand that the answers can be found in listening to others who are willing to share their stories, knowing that their story ultimately doesn't belong to them. All right, today's guest has dreamed of having his own theater ever since he got a magic kit for Christmas when he was 6 years old. Then he met a girl, and now their favorite thing about doing what they do is the people they get to meet. They share from the stage that everyone is given unique gifts and skill sets from God, and that we should use those gifts to make an impact on the people around us. When asked about their methods for keeping productive, their response was, honestly, scheduling in time for fun. We tend to be much more productive if we aren't constantly overworking ourselves. Advice they offer others aspiring to succeed as business owners is Dave Ramsey's Momentum Theorem. Focused intensity over time multiplied by God equals unstoppable momentum. Please give a warm Morning Fuel podcast welcome to the owners of the Wagsters Magic Theater, performing shows in their own space in Williamsburg, Virginia, Brian and Hannah Wagster.
Brandon
and Hannah Wagster. That is awesome. Hey, Brandon, what's up, dude?
I'm doing good. I'm just curious how you misread my name off a teleprompter.
It's behind the phone.
Okay, well, I'll let you slide. It's okay.
It's behind the camera.
It's not the first time.
I appreciate you looking, though. It's that whole, just...
But you said Wagster, correct? Most people don't do that.
Cool. I mean, interesting. We have a guest going to be on the show not too long from now. They own a dog grooming, and I got the names mixed up. I thought Wagster. That's an awesome name to have as a last name for somebody that grooms dogs, but it wasn't her. So, anyways, I miss words. I misread teleprompters and all that stuff.
There's a company in California that makes dog treats, and they're Wagster dog treats.
Of course. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. One of my favorite things to do is to meet new people and learn why they do what they do, hence Morning Fuel. Morning Fuel is the thing that gets us up in the morning, that keeps us going when things get hard. So we want to hear about the origin story. So between the time that you were 6 and you got that first magic kit at Christmas and you met this girl here, what happened? When was the I want to be a magician, and then the thoughts of owning a business or doing it for a living? When did that happen?
So before I even got the magic kit, there were television specials that would come on. At the time, it was Fox Family, and then it changed to ABC Family, and it's been 50 other things now. But at the time, it was Fox Family, and every Thanksgiving, there were these specials that would come on called World's Greatest Magic. And it had 20 of the greatest magicians in the world coming together and showcasing their best magic. And of course, 6-7-year-old Brandon glued to the television screen, watching every single move of each one of these performers. And I've actually had the pleasure of getting to actually meet and perform with some of those guys I got to grow up watching, which is pretty cool. But watched those specials, and then I got involved in a local community theater as well, so quickly grew a passion for the stage and learning about lighting and costumes and sets and movement and choreography. And my friends and I would actually, one of my best friends growing up, his name was Matt, and he was huge into theater and magic as well. And we would actually both transform our garages into theaters. We would hang up our mom's bed sheets. We'd pull out work lights. We had our own fog machines. I mean, we would build sets out of styrofoam and cardboard and spray paint. And
fantastic.
We would do plays, circuses, and magic shows for family and friends on holidays. Or
how old were you at this time?
I was 7, 8, 9
wow.
years old. So yeah, we were. How many 9-year-olds do you know who save up money so they can go buy a fog machine? That's
just one.
Yeah, exactly. So I did that for a long time, and then about 11 years old, I started performing, quote-unquote, professionally for money. I started doing my first birthday parties. I worked at a couple of restaurants one night a week doing balloon animals and magic table to table.
Cool.
And I did that for several years, and that was how I got my first gigs of birthday parties, church shows, school shows, things of that nature. And then, the show just continued to grow and grow and grow, and had dreams of moving on. And But that was one of the things Matt and I used to talk about, was having our own theaters one day. Matt actually had a theater company in San Francisco for several years, and
Wow.
then COVID hit, and he had some struggles with that. And
So
then,
he's still out in California?
I think he's out in Vegas now.
Vegas, okay.
And then, so he chased his dream of doing musical theater, but the magic was where I saw my passion. I wasn't a great singer, not a great actor, but magic was the thing that came natural to me, and it's the thing I'm passionate about. And it's just a great way to tell a story. And so ever since I was a little kid, I remember actually sitting in class. I should have been listening to the teacher, and I would be drawing on paper, designing my own theater. And it's just been what I've always wanted.
Okay, wow. So now how old are you?
I'm 31.
Okay. Hannah?
I am 28. I had to think
Okay.
about that. Sorry.
Okay. All right, cool. I got to think about it sometimes too, except I'm much older. So how did you wind up in Williamsburg having your own theater in Williamsburg? I mean, where are you from originally?
We're both from Columbia, South Carolina, and
Okay.
we lived there until I graduated in 2012. And a couple weeks after I graduated, we actually moved to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where we were in our first theater experience, which was not great.
It wasn't a good theater experience.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it was actually a church that decided to have a theater as a ministry on the side.
And it's as bad of an idea as it sounds.
Yes.
Yeah, it does sounds like awful.
They had a magic show and a luau show. And yeah, it was not, I don't even know how to describe that experience. It only lasted about 3 months. And
We did 19 shows, and between those 19 shows, we only sold 200 tickets. So
Okay.
do the math on that.
Yeah, sure.
Our smallest crowd was 9 people.
Lean time, right? Sure. And this was how many years ago?
it was the summer of 2012. It was a very humbling experience for us, though.
Okay.
We kind of needed it at that time. We had started to get an ego because we had started to do quite a bit in the magic community, and we were performing at magic conventions, and we had our own theater show, and we thought we were just the coolest thing ever.
Gotcha.
And it's just a humbling experience.
And I had seen a reasonable amount of success in magic competitions. I went and competed at pretty much the biggest competition in the world for young magicians at the time.
Okay.
Out in Las Vegas. It was called the World Magic Seminar, and it's 40 of the best teenage magicians coming together to compete. And most of the guys that had been there 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years.
Okay.
I had only been one time, and I placed third in this international magic competition against the best of the best around the
Fantastic.
world. And
Okay.
so, there was a lot of ego, and so
Sure.
it was a good thing to happen. But we did that theater gig again. About 3 months it lasted, and then we pretty much starved for 2 months or 2 years.
Yeah, 2
So
years.
you had a humbling block. You had that point you got to where you maybe even had to consider, do you want to continue doing this? Did that ever kind of enter your mind?
It did. Brandon actually considered maybe us not doing magic anymore, and he was going to work for our church that was actually going and planting more campuses, and we were thinking about leaving Myrtle Beach when we had a new opportunity come up.
What happened?
I love lighting design, and we'll talk about that a little later
Okay.
in the show, but
Sure.
stage lighting. And I was working on the technical team at our church, and they were planting a campus in the upstate of South Carolina in the Greenville area. And I wanted to apply to be one of their co-tech team leaders at that campus. And we were about to sign a lease or transfer our lease to a new apartment. We had gone up and looked around the area and said, okay, we think this is where we want to go. And then we were a month to the day of moving. And my phone rang, or I got a text message from a friend who worked at a big theater in Myrtle Beach. And she said, hey, the president of the company just came in my office and said, hey, they're looking for a magician. They need to have all these criteria. Who can you suggest? And she said, I suggested you and Hannah. And I told him, hurry, because they're moving in a month. And so he called me that afternoon. And, of course, I was like trying to hold back excitement and
Sure.
giddiness that this 1,600-seat, multi-million-dollar theater was interested in having us come be a part of one of their shows. And Hannah was furious. She is, when we've made a plan, doesn't like the plan to deviate.
Okay, well we're gonna go to Hannah right now.
Oh,
Hannah,
great.
what about
Lovely.
this? What happened?
So it was just, we had already packed the apartment and everything. And I was never really a fan of Myrtle Beach to begin with. We did in our career end up staying there for 10 years, but it was just never a town that I super liked. And so when I thought that there was hope of getting out of Myrtle Beach, I was very excited.
Sure.
And then we ended up stayed because they gave us an offer we couldn't really refuse. You know, it was it took a long time to get to where we did at that theater, but.
So how long did it take to get over your furiousness and settle back and say, hey, we're just going to go ahead and do this thing?
Probably about 6 months ago when we moved here.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
No, not quite. I mean, there's no work environment's perfect.
Oh, of course.
So it had its challenges, but we were performing in a country music theater. That was the focus of the show, where the singers and the band and that was in a dance troupe. They were the focus of the show. We were kind of the underdogs, I can't even say second banana.
Well,
like fifth banana.
Did your magic performance then have to have like a country theme to it, or what?
Ooh, no.
Did that just happen, or?
That would have been rough.
So how it started is there was they had a clogging troupe at the theater that had actually been on America's Got Talent.
Okay.
They actually came in second or third the first season of America's Got Talent. So they had been at the theater for a while, and they wanted to do a show featuring this clogging troupe. And they quickly found out that 45 minutes of sustained clogging was not sustainable. And
not clogging that you're thinking, though. It was hip-hop clogging, so it was like very contemporary.
Sure.
So
I believe we're big fans of AGT, at least my wife is, and I have to watch it. But we probably actually have seen them. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You probably did. You've probably
not
seen
the
them.
wooden clogs like little Dutch people clogging around.
That would have been a different show. But honestly, the president of the theater had been trying to find an excuse to bring magic into one of the shows.
Okay,
and this was his opportunity to do that.
Gotcha.
And honestly, we weren't a fit. I don't know why we got brought in, other than it just being a God thing.
And how long did you say you stayed?
We were there for 5.5 years, but
wow.
we did the clogging show for about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But within, I think within the first 18 months of being there, we got to join their Christmas show, which we got to do shows, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 performances a week.
Gotcha.
But in a 3-hour show, we got to be on stage for about 4 minutes.
Wow.
So, but there was no better offer. That was what we needed to do, and it was just sort of that pay your dues mindset.
Sure.
Doing that, we did that, and we did the clogging show for another full year, and then did another season of Christmas. And in the middle of that second Christmas season, the president comes up and he goes, "Hey, we got an empty weekend in January. Do you guys want to do your own show one weekend?" And of course, Hannah and I are like, "Yeah, absolutely." And he said, "Can you show us what the show would look like next week?" Hannah and I hadn't done a full show
since Grand Illusions.
Since that first show in Myrtle Beach, 2 or 3 years, 4 years before that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And right in the middle of the busiest season of the year, of Christmas, being 8, 9, 10 shows a week. And of course, Hannah and I go, "Yes, absolutely." And we ran off into a corner and hyperventilated for a few minutes, and then mapped out the show and very sloppily put it together in the middle of the day the next week for them. And they gave us the thumbs up, and we did our show one weekend in January. And it was so well received, they gave us about 8 or 9 performances that summer. And then the next year, I think we had almost 35 or almost 40 performances of it even the next year.
Okay. Wow. So what brought you to Virginia? What brought you to Williamsburg particularly?
COVID.
Yes.
How did that happen? Okay, because I
we
noticed
did.
that the start of, it was 2020, and I'm thinking, well, how did they do that?
Mm-hmm.
So talk to us about what brought you here.
So we did Pure Magic for a few years. That was our full theatrical magic show that we did at the Carolina Opry. And then COVID happened. I mean, we were actually going to be introducing a new show, because every season we would change up what our show was, because we would have the same people come back, because it's a tourist town. So people vacation there every year.
Right.
And we were just getting ready to put in a new show, and we all got fired as soon as COVID happened.
Sure.
And we just stepped back for a moment, we kind of lost our identities a little bit because, it was all in performing, and that was rough for a lot of us entertainers. We were keeping up with friends as well, and we saw people that had been in relationships for years break up. People stepped away from magic. It was a rough time for everybody. And
we actually saw a lot of, in my opinion, very talented entertainers leave entertainment completely. And completely backed away from it, got rid of every drop of existence of it online, and have completely shifted careers.
Kind of disappeared.
Literally and
Right.
metaphorically.
So that happened in March of 2020. Actually, in April of 2020, we had some stuff going on in our personal lives. And
but even before all of that kind of hit the fan, we had some Facebook friends, again, other entertainers who have their own theater in Wisconsin. It's about 2 weeks into COVID, I would say. And they just sent us some messages and said, hey, we're bored. We're locked inside. Are you guys bored? Do y'all want to have a Zoom call? We'll tell you all about how we opened our theater. We didn't ask. They didn't know we had any desire to have our own theater. It was, again, just another God thing of saying,
absolutely.
okay, this is a sign. We should sit in what I thought was going to take an hour. We spent about 8 hours on a Zoom call with them. And about a good 3/4 of it was theater talk. And then the other bit was just kind of building a new friendship, which is great. And right about that time, we had been watching a documentary on Disney Plus called The Imagineering Story, all about the Disney parks. And in the first episode, they talk about everything that Walt invested into getting Disneyland open in the 1950s. And it mentioned that Walt sold one of his homes and cashed out life insurance policies and all these other things. And Hannah and I had already been discussing selling our home and finding another house because we just weren't happy with our living situation with our neighbors. And so all that was kind of already in the back of our minds. And we had the phone call. They gave us numbers, and we went, well, we know what the house would sell for. And if that's what they said it cost to do, we could probably make this work. So we basically spent 2 years planning this theater, but to be in Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
And then, like Hannah said, we had some things arise in our marriage, things that needed to be situated, trauma from even our past and childhoods that needed to be worked through that just hadn't been dealt with, stuff that had just been swept under the rug. And when you're in entertainment, it's just go, 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 go. There's no time to pause, no time to reflect. It's just do the next show. And so that gave us time to do that. And honestly, we developed the strongest sense of community we had ever had in our entire lives in South Carolina. And back in January, we had sold our home. We cashed out our 401ks. We just had all this money just sitting, waiting, and was slowly accumulating stuff. And our tiny apartment was filling up with sound equipment and light equipment and mirrors and just all this stuff we were slowly collecting and running out of room fast. And I was weeks away from signing a lease on a building in Myrtle Beach. And I just got a bad gut feeling. And I went and sat down with a business mentor and a good friend, and we looked over all the numbers, and he said, y'all don't have the money to do this here. And so we kind of mourned that for 3 days, and I called my realtor and pulled the plug on everything, and we just kind of cried for 3 days. It was just a depressing couple of days. And then a friend of ours from Lynchburg, Virginia, came and visited us, and she's like, okay, well, she knew about the theater. We had probably on 2 hands we could count the amount of people who knew what we were planning because we had a non-compete from the previous venue, so we couldn't do anything for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And we were doing on the road performing and out of town stuff. But she came into town, and we were sitting at our church's coffee shop, and she goes, well, if y'all aren't going to do the theater, you need to go try to find a summer gig. And to which she suggested that we try to maybe go find a theme park. She said, what about Busch Gardens? And I was like, well, I don't know anybody at Busch Gardens, and I don't want to move to Florida.
Yeah, there is a Busch Gardens theme park in Florida.
Yeah, there is one in Florida.
But you thought she was talking about Florida, but she wasn't talking about Florida.
She was not.
Okay, cool.
Oh, you wanted me to take over? Okay.
Pick up. Go ahead.
Yeah, so she told us there was one in Williamsburg, which we had never heard of.
Wait, you never heard of Williamsburg?
We had never heard of Williamsburg.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's one of the original colonies. That's the rumor.
It is. Very, very close to Yorktown, the birthplace of our nation.
Yes.
Anyways.
Well, when you grow up in South Carolina, because we lived in the capital of the state, everyone vacationed in Myrtle Beach.
Mm-hmm.
we didn't really go anywhere beyond that. So at the most, you would go to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. There was not a lot of vacationing beyond there. So yeah, we had never heard of it, and we decided to just Google search the town, and we just fell in love with it.
Oh, sure. And you hadn't even gotten there yet.
Absolutely. We were looking at all the numbers, and we're like, okay, there's tourism here. It seems like a really safe community, which Myrtle Beach was getting less and less safe. And as we were getting ready to possibly start a family, we just wanted somewhere we could settle down better.
Right.
And we booked an Airbnb. We came up Valentine's weekend, and I mean, the rest was kind of history. It moved really fast. It's been a crazy year for us.
6 months.
Yes.
It's nuts, yeah. We came up for Valentine's weekend. We found our building while we were here visiting. We left February 15th from the parking lot of our now building.
2020.
2022.
2022. Oh, so this is, okay. Wow.
All of this was this year. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
we're talking,
Cool. Again, well, seriously, welcome to Virginia.
Thank you. Yeah. So, yeah.
I'm not from here either. I'm from New York. But anyways, we'll talk about that some other time.
Yeah.
Wow. So
But
fantastic.
yeah, we found our building February 15th, 2022. We drove back to South Carolina. We pulled back into the parking lot of our building on March 16th, 2022, with everything we owned.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked in the door, signed the lease, handed in a deposit check, and we got to work.
Wonderful. Where do you live? Do you live in Williamsburg?
We do.
We do.
Here? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then where is your building? Where is your theater?
We're at
You're better. Well, I was going to say you're better at that than I am,
I'm
but
no
then
good
you
at
just
talking.
did that.
I just did that.
That's all right. The South Carolina accent's starting to come out too. So.
That's true. The more tired I'm getting, the more relaxed it'll get. We're at 5535 Old Town Road. We're directly behind the Premium Outlets in Williamsburg.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, I know exactly where that is.
So yeah, we're real easy to find up until our sign. We're actually behind the Food Lion. There's an alley behind the Food Lion Shopping Center.
Sure.
That goes up to a big metal building in the back.
Sounds
And
like a great place for a theater.
there's not much curb appeal whatsoever, but it's kind of fun because we get to see people through the windows pulling up with this look of, is this it? And then it's fun to, by the end of the night, people are blown away by what we've been
Wonderful.
able to do inside of the building, which used
Very
to be
cool.
a church.
So are you still waiting on your sign? I heard you say something about sign. I know around here, the cities and counties are very, very particular about their signage.
So we reached out to one sign company, and
Everybody's behind on everything. So it took us a while, but we actually ended up having to work with a different company. But I do believe we have the only purple sign in Williamsburg because we always are told, oh, we saw your sign. Like that's the big thing. So,
but what's interesting is when I paid for the deposit on our signs with the company, and they said, just fair warning, it can take up to 5 weeks just to get approval, and then it can take another 7 to 10 days to even get out there and get these installed. So I put in the deposit, and I think less than 2 weeks later, I got a phone call of them saying, hey, we're going to be there tomorrow to put your signs up. So just another cool little unexplained thing that happened and worked out for us.
So tell us one interesting thing about yourself that you think not many people may know. Something interesting about you. I mean, if like being a magician is not interesting enough, but
yeah, I know. You go first, Hannah.
oh no, don't put me on the spot. I want to hear what you have to say.
What I have to say?
Yeah.
Can we circle back to that?
I mean, it doesn't have to be closet secrets or anything like that, but just things that people wouldn't know about you. Or
I mean, I like to cook. I already said it once. I'm into musical theater. That's one thing I miss is getting to be in plays and shows, and musicals, I guess.
Have you ever done a cruise?
No, I've never even been on a cruise ship.
Okay.
So neither has Hannah.
Mm-mm.
We've never been out of
Got
the
to
country.
do it at least once.
We
We've
plan
done it
to.
once. We might do it again.
Never been.
Not a Disney cruise though. We won't do another Disney cruise. We'll do something else. It was nice, but it was expensive.
I was going to say that's probably
Very
what we would
expensive.
do is the Disney cruise.
Well, I mean, you got to try that once. We did it once. Yeah. Lots of kids. Lots of kids. Don't think you're going to get in the pool.
We're
There's no room.
basically kids too.
There's
Yeah.
more kids in the pool than there is water.
We're
Seriously.
we're those weirdos who go to Disney without kids. So
Yeah, we did for our anniversary. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Okay, cool. Well, before I ask my last question of you, I see you brought some cards, and you may have like a magic trick or something like that. I mean, can I ask for one of those? Do you take requests?
I don't know how well that's going to translate on a podcast.
Well, I mean, we are recording video.
Oh,
But
okay.
it'll be like
you know.
playing card ASMR.
Yeah, I don't know.
It'll be fine.
Just something, something, you know.
Yeah. So
I mean, I can't have a magician on the show and not ask
I understand. Yeah.
for
Here,
for
you gonna
a
do it?
magic trick.
No.
Although I did
Well, you wanted
notice
somebody to shuffle the deck?
Hannah was laughing at me earlier. You know, the something wrong here.
Yeah, it looks like the deck doesn't match.
Yeah,
the
I have
box,
a blue
but it
box and a
doesn't-
red deck. I don't
Okay.
quite know what was going on there.
Right. Do you have enough room there? Or?
Ooh, look at
Oh,
that.
That
excuse
was-
me.
Yeah.
Pardon me. That sounded really good one, actually.
I'm gonna have you reach in the deck and pull one out. It can
Okay,
be
I
it can
can't
be
wait.
random. It can be your favorite card. It's just
Okay.
Totally
Oh, I get to see the cards,
Yeah, if you
too.
see one
All right, all
you
right, all right.
like, just
Oh,
grab one
let me
out
see
from the
one
middle
back
there.
here.
Oh,
I'm
he's
gonna
going
come back here.
Going back.
to
That's
here,
cool.
and
All
I
right.
don't show it.
Yeah, don't show it. Look at it. Remember what it is. That's important. Yeah.
Yep.
If you forget it, it means nothing. So
Okay,
put it right
just
there
put
for
it
me.
Back on the deck there.
Now,
Now I'm watching really close.
well, that's good. 'Cause that's what we want. I have a question for you. I'm sure there is a street that you probably drive down almost every single day.
Yes.
Now, has there ever been a day that you've driven down that street and all of a sudden you've noticed a house, a sign, a tree, a fire hydrant? There's something that you've never noticed before, and then all of a sudden you're just, I've driven down this road 1,000 times. I've never noticed that.
Okay.
That's happened to you, right?
Yeah, sure
I think
it
it's
has.
happened to all of us.
Oh, sure.
And I think it just goes to show how little we pay attention in our
Right.
daily lives sometimes.
Right.
And so I have to ask, did you look at the back of your card?
No, I only looked at the face of the card.
You
I guess
looked
that
at the
would
face.
be the face,
you
right?
didn't look. Yeah, you didn't look at the back.
I did not.
Now, what's interesting is I pointed out that the cards are actually a different color from the box. But what's funny is there's one card in the pack that
I would have
is-
noticed that.
that is blue. Are you sure you noticed it?
I would have.
Because I find it weird that you picked the one blue back card in the deck. But that's
That's awesome.
let's do this again.
Okay.
We'll get that out of the way. Let's see here.
There's some magic going on here. I know it.
I think there is. Trying to
there?
see here. I don't know. Just ignore me. Say stop for me.
Stop.
All right, take that card and look at it.
All right, I'm looking.
You got it. So you didn't pick the. Because I don't think I had two of clubs in here.
No,
Let me make sure.
No.
Because I never know with me. I never know, and it makes me
From the
worried.
magical
Here,
decks.
so it's a different card.
It is.
That's
yeah,
good.
it's not the
Let me grab it.
two of spades.
I'll take
You
it
want to
from
take
you.
this? You don't want to look at it though, right?
Take it from and put it right there. Now, it was the queen.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. But if we give a little blow, see how the card will change.
Right. What? That's awesome. That's good. That's magic.
That was magic.
That's magic.
If I didn't forget the trick sometimes.
Well, you know what? So what? You forgot the trick, but it worked. That's awesome. I appreciate
I
you.
wish we could have got your reaction.
Well, thank you so much.
I'm not good at on the spot. You know.
Well, that's okay.
I've got friends
You
who
still performed magic. Like I have no idea. Yeah.
That's all I got.
Good stuff. Wow. Well, cool. Really, really great to meet you guys.
Yes.
I'm excited for you. 6 months into this venture, I can't wait to bring my family to see your magic show. And so my last question, not a very big one or anything like that, but where can folks find you on social media? Where do folks connect with you?
Yeah, so we are at the Wagsters Magic on practically every social media place you can find. If you want to learn more about the show, you can go to williamsburgmagic.com. And then to call, it is 877-WAGSTER.
So that's 877-924-7837.
You took the Wagster dog food company's phone number. How did you do that?
I don't know.
Magic.
We got lucky.
Yeah. Wow. Cool. All right. Well, that's great. So one bonus question, I suppose. What do the Wagsters need right now as business owners, as a business? What do you need right now?
Sleep.
Sure.
That's accurate.
Honest answer.
I'm just being serious.
Yes. And it's a valid answer.
Well, we did the math today, and for the 3 months, we were working 80-hour weeks before we got open. So we were going nonstop. We were doing 6 shows a day, or no, 6 shows a day. It felt like it.
We were doing 70 to 80-hour weeks for 3 months straight, and then we jumped directly into doing shows 6 nights a week. And even on our one day off, it was playing catch up. We had other things planned on those one day off, and
Right.
so now
But
it's-
the support has been overwhelming. We had so many sold out shows. But yeah, right now we need sleep. We're going on our first
Well,
vacation
that
next week.
works.
We're excited.
That works. Go on vacation, come back to sold out shows, right?
That's the hope.
Very cool. Awesome. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And thank you for sharing your story.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
All right.